Hey there, Erica here with ericacarico.com. In today's video, I want to talk about how to not be one of the 95% of businesses that fail in the first year. And I know from personal experience, I've been through the first year. I see my clients make it through their first year. I also hear a lot of stories where people flat out quit, give up, close the doors, and I've seen it happen in my own business. Here is the difference between people who make it past the first year and people who don't. People who make it past the first year are those who don't quit. Those who keep going regardless of how hard it is, regardless of how many failures they feel they've had. I know a lot of coaches, healers, consultants. I know a lot of entrepreneurs who don't make it past the first year, or they earn very little in their first year. That's pretty normal. I want to say in my first year, I earned probably around $20,000. All of that was reinvested back into my business. So the first year of business, I always break it down into two pieces. So there's the first 6 months and then there's the second 6 months. The first 6 months are definitely the hardest and definitely the most challenging. If you can put yourself out there consistently for the first 6 months, regardless of hearing crickets, regardless of nobody signing up for your newsletter, regardless of nobody signing up to your webinar, regardless of nobody liking or commenting on your Instagram posts, regardless of only your mom or your sister watching your Instagram stories, regardless of nobody consuming your content, or at least you think nobody's consuming your content, you keep showing up and you keep putting yourself out there consistently. You keep doing the videos, you keep creating the posts, you keep holding the workshops, you keep speaking at speaking engagements, you keep pitching yourself to podcasts, regardless of if anything is happening or not. In the first 6 months, I'll tell you, not much happens. There is not a lot that happens in the first 6 months, and that is okay. If you continue to consistently put yourself out there for those first 6 months and you continue to push and do revenue generating activity, which if you followed me for a while, you know I like to call them external marketing tactics, then that is going to make the second half of that first year so much easier. And that is when the clients will start coming in around that 9, 10, 11, and 12 month mark. Now, what I see the biggest mistake people making is in that first 6 months, they get discouraged. They have all of the self-doubt come in. God, maybe this isn't meant for me. Maybe I'm not strong enough to do this. Maybe I need to change my niche. Maybe I need to redo my website. Maybe I need to completely throw this business out and start another one. That is just your ego trying to keep you safe and trying to keep you protected, when in actuality, what you need to do is keep going regardless. Honestly, that is, I think, what made me so different than a lot of other entrepreneurs who I know who quit in their first year, is no matter what, I knew for me, my business was a non-negotiable. I knew this is why I'm here. I knew in that first year, the only way that I was not going to make it is if I quit. And so that alone just kept me going. If you keep pushing through that first year consistently, you will find that the second year becomes so much easier because you have done so much of the groundwork, so much of the hard work. You have failed, you have learned, you have gotten up and tried again, you have refined your message, you have learned how to do discovery calls by failing on so many. You have learned what your ideal client wants because you have talked to so many people, right? You know how to hold an amazing workshop that converts because you've effed up so many other ones. So if you can just get through the first year, the second year is going to be so much better. But here's another thing. Fire ants are not your friend. So also what I see happening is people getting discouraged and then taking time off, or they slow down, or they hold a workshop and it doesn't convert, and they don't hold another workshop for another 6 months because they're so devastated that that first one didn't work. I understand that because I've had workshops where nobody came. I've had workshops where only 2 people signed up. But what I learned from those is how to shift and adjust things so that more people sign, right? So I didn't just give up after a failed workshop. I got up and did it again a couple of weeks later. If you pull back the reins, if you start to do things like redoing your website, if you start to say, I need to completely change my niche, which may or may not be the case, talk to a business coach, talk to me. If you have questions about your niche, your messaging, you want to know if it's dialed in enough, reach out to somebody, talk to them, ask them. And if it is, then you know that you need to keep going and not stop. So if you do slow down and pull back the reins, if you stop showing up consistently in your business in that first 6 months or in the first year, you're delaying the struggle. You're postponing the struggle. It's not going to stop or get any easier until you get through this really super challenging place. When I was growing my business in my first year, I was working full-time as the executive director of a not-for-profit. I had 2 small kids. I was still breastfeeding my baby, and I had a 4-year-old. And I had been diagnosed with cancer recently before. I had a lot on my plate, and so my first year was not all sunshine and roses. I had a very tiny amount of time to work on my business, but it was a non-negotiable. So every Tuesday and Thursday from 8:30 to 10:30, after my kids went to bed, that was the time that I worked on my business. On Sunday mornings from 8 until about 12 or 1, that was the second time when I worked on my business. And they were non-negotiables. Everybody knew that was time for me to be working on my business. And if I did not have clients in those spots, I was doing external marketing or revenue generating tactics like pitching myself for workshops, getting published in the media, reaching out to people to try and get clients. Who do you know? I was doing these kinds of activities to bring clients into my business. When I say show up consistently for that first year, here's what that could look like. We need to have a plan where we're showing up weekly, we're showing up monthly, and we're showing up quarterly. So for example, my business, I have weekly video that I do, and we then repurpose that into weekly social media. We repurpose that into a weekly newsletter. The videos go up on YouTube, Instagram, IGTV. I'm showing up weekly. Then I do monthly workshops, monthly online master classes. There's something that happens monthly where you can remind people who you are, how to work with you, the transformation that you provide, and what the first step is, right? Usually that's book a consultation with me. The third piece is quarterly. So we can then implement quarterly launches. And if you can have these quarterly launches going, you have weekly, monthly, and quarterly, and you have a consistent way of showing up. So consistency, perseverance, resilience, figuring out your why and tapping so hard into that is what is going to keep you going through those hard times. Redefining failure. It's not failure if you learn something from it and you keep going. So yes, the first year of business is hard, but it is so doable. And I promise, I see this all the time. Once you get past that first year, it makes the second year so much easier. And the third year is when things just really click. So show up consistently, keep going. If you'd like support with your business, with implementing your marketing strategy, making sure that you're on track, I would love to help you. The first step is send me a message. Send me a message, I'll send you a link, we'll book you in, we'll have a chat, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together. Thank you so much. I love you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. I'll give you one more view of where I'm gonna spend my day. I'll see you in the next video.